Why are we wearing beanies today?
Because it's fucking cold at home. No, it's in honor and respect for the person whose novel we will be talking about.
Right. Who?
Someone who never takes a picture of himself with his computer to post it on Facebook without a beanie.
Oh, you're talking about
That guy.
Neil Smith?
I'm not friends with him on Facebook. I don't know what he's wearing.
Best wishes to Neil Smith, by the way.
Definitely. So, okay. It's getting too warm. Yeah, we are trying.
I wanted a noise, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I can take the beanie out too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks.
The book we want to talk about is The Ballad of Mila, which came out recently in English. The author is Matteo Strukul, which you know.
Which I know and you know too.
Well, I met him a couple of times. And to talk about this book is, I don't know, I tried to hold myself a little bit back because I love the book.
Don't need to.
But a bit. But I was wondering, as I was also already holding this book in my hand, which is Shotgun Opera by Victor Gischler, whose, well, main character, kind of main character, not really, but almost, is a woman.
One of the main characters.
Yeah, okay.
And at least three.
So Strukul is also, his main character is Mila.
Of course. Mila Zago.
I'm just wondering, what is it that you guys need to write about women?
That's a good question, and personally I do not know the answer. Although I have asked Matteo Strukul some time ago. Not Victor, to be fair. Matteo said something like, well, first of all, he thinks that women characters are more interesting for the public, for the audience, because there's less of them.
There's still half of the population is female. Why are there so little female characters?
That's the point that probably he asked himself. And he answered by, I don't know, but I'll write one. Also he has, of course, his inspirations will be The Bride from Kill Bill by Quentin Tarantino, or Lisbeth Salander he actually mentions as one of his inspiration from Stieg Larsson, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and that trilogy. He really likes it. And possibly even Nikki Enders from Shotgun Opera. Not sure if she's part of his inspirations or just happens to be another strong female character, good with weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I mean,
so is Mila.
Nikki and Mila, at first glance you might think, oh okay, he copied from Gischler and it's just a different version of her. But it's absolutely not. The background is completely different. Mila is, well, she is at the start, let's say, and is aiming for something, while Nikki is in the middle of it and actually thinking of getting out, maybe?
Yeah, well, without this being too much of a spoiler for either book, Nikki Enders is a professional contract killer. I'm not telling you what she's doing exactly, but she's a professional contract killer. While Mila is a killing machine, she's a war machine.
Is she?
She looks like one. She's perfectly cold, great with rifles, katanas, knives, hand-to-hand combat. She can do it all, and she can do it better than most. Actually, I read a couple of reviews recently of actually of the English version of the book, one was criticizing the fact that she's too good at everything. I'm not sure if I agree. Actually, I don't agree. But she is great at everything that has to do with killing and beating each other, beating people up and hurting people.
Yeah.
We find out why in the book. I'd rather not say,
No.
because it might spoil the enjoyment.
Absolutely. No, I'm thinking, when I was reading the book, I didn't think that this is impossible. I mean, having done martial arts myself, I don't think it's unrealistic to have this character. I mean, you can train yourself to have full body control. You can train yourself to have good skills with weapons, no matter if it's guns or if it's swords, Japanese swords like katanas and so on.
Do you think it is possible, however, to be so good with everything?
Yes, absolutely.
She's a perfect sniper and she's a great swordswoman, maybe, and she can kick ass hand to hand.
I have to say, to use katanas and to do martial arts is kind of the same source. The shooting is a bit different, but this is something you can train. I mean, if a person can only be good in one thing, then how do you explain Da Vinci, for example? How do you explain Edison or others, you know? Bruce Dickinson, right. Cheers to him. So, what do you think about the story itself? It's set in Italy.
Set in the northeast of Italy, in Veneto, which is where Matteo lives and where I come from too.
Do you think it's interesting to read about it? Just about the location. I mean, to have Italy. Usually, what is it? America or the Nordic countries, or Italy is, well, we have Montalbano, which is Commissario, but it's not Mila. So to have Italy as the center of action. How do you feel about it as Italian yourself?
I enjoy it. Well, actually I got back to this kind of genre, the mystery thriller action, thanks to Massimo Carlotto. And what I really enjoyed, besides the story, which was really interesting, the Alligatore stories is his first mystery novels, was reading about places I actually know. The main character in Carlotto's novels go to a club I used to frequent personally, so I know exactly where he was walking in. I liked it a lot. So for me personally, reading something set in places I know is really as an additional interest. There is, in the book, there is a good introduction by Victor Gischner, who says that it is interesting to see how it's not America that has, the copyright on or the, exclusive rights on gritty murders and violence and things like that. And not all Italian criminals are mafioso with the droopy moustache and the wee flat cap and all those things. So I think it is something new in a way. In Italy, it didn't make much difference in my opinion. Abroad, that can actually do it.
I don't think it is really a big difference to Gischler's Shotgun Opera. I mean, yeah, the scenery is different, but for me, it doesn't reduce the story because it's in Italy, or it doesn't make it bigger. It's just a very well chosen spot, because he knows, of course, the area, so he can be very detailed in descriptions. And I mean, when he's writing about the Hippodrome, you can feel that he went there himself, and you can picture yourself in there and all. So the descriptions are really good. What do you think about the Chinese element in there?
I don't know much about China, so I'll throw it at you. You know more about the Chinese.
Okay, good one. Well, I have to say, I think 2 or 3 names didn't make too much sense to me. From I mean, what is possible as a name. But okay, people come from different parts of China, so maybe it was possible to have a Tong, whatever it was. It was one or two names which I was a bit... but what I really liked, having studied Chinese studies, having lived there, is the way how Strukul puts things in there, explaining why things are this way. So like explaining a bit about the triads, explaining a bit about what relationship means in China or in Chinese tradition, explains how you feel about belonging to something what is bigger than just a group of people. And I really liked how simple he put it in there. You know, it's not just, it's not like a teacher who's with raised index finger says, and this is because blah blah blah. Just implements it, it flows perfectly, and I really enjoyed that. I thought he did it really well.
I think most of the exposure about the history of triads are in that not very long monologue by the triad leader, Guo.
When he tells a story.
Yeah, when he tells a story to Mule and Mila.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that monologue makes sense to have been made by a Chinese person?
Absolutely. It's what you would picture an elderly Chinese man doing exactly that speech. I mean, it's like Kung Fu Panda. Everything in there makes so much sense, and it couldn't be any different than it is. So it's same as for the book, The Ballad of Mila.
Okay, so the Chinese element is great. Also, I appreciated, although I ignored that part, but in the beginning, the clash between the generation, between Guo, the elderly, well, the older, not elderly, gentleman who's the leader of the triads, who wants to integrate in the Italian culture perfectly, so much that he's so proud to be speaking perfect Italian, that actually tells off his nephew, who's also one of his hitmen, because he gets a preposition wrong, I think, or something like that. Because it shows how much the older gentleman cares about that. He's a criminal, true, but he's trying to do it in the smoothest way possible, so get to become a part of the local community, of the local business community, on the legal side, which is apparently what is actually has been happening in that area of Italy, and not only, with exactly Chinese criminality possibly linked to the likely linked to the trials. Okay, so by the way, today is the 8th of March, International Women's Day too. So we are talking about Mila. Matteo, by the way, I want to specify, dedicates his book to his wife Sylvia, and there is actually a very nice interview that I made with him, actually for Sugar Pulp Worldwide, sugarpulp.com, you'll find it there, in which he says that his main inspiration for Mila really is his wife. I advise you to just read it because it's very deep, and really I will not be able to explain exactly what he says because it's really touching and really nice. I wanted to ask you, okay, you do not read too many books in this genre, but you have read some. As a woman, do you like Mila more because she's a woman or just because it's a good story? Does it make a difference to you? I mean, if Mila was Milosh.
It does make a difference that it's a woman, and I have to say, from the beginning, I liked her character so much because, how did I call it, woman power at its finest.
Something like that, yes.
Yeah. I like to look at women, you know, there's this typical picture of women need to be blonde, slim, big boobs and stuff.
Well,
and
Mila has big boobs.
okay,
It
she
is
does.
fade.
She does, but you know, it's a different kind of a picture or different type of picture of a woman, and I really appreciate it because it's a perfect picture of a woman who has a can-do attitude. You know, I think that with all accesses women have now, you can achieve all those things which she achieved so far, and I think it's very realistic. It is a possibility of a character, you know, and actually someone who could be alive for real. So
More than a can-do attitude, she has a will-do attitude.
yeah, probably. Yeah, I think you're right.
Not to spoil anything, but everybody knows there is a sequel, which is here in Italian, and that has been optioned by Exhibit A.
No, I think with the first book, Strukul set out a path for Mila, and you know already at the end of a book that there must be at least one more book to come. And yeah, I'm waiting for the translator to translate the book. So
Translators, plural.
okay, the translators to translate the book, because I want to read it, because I really want to know where it goes. I mean, I think Strukul really managed it well to enjoy a character, to enjoy a story, and build up expectations for the next book, or for what is there to come, because there must be something. Because the book leaves us with some hints that Mila is not done. So, yeah.
Yeah, the only spoiler we get here is that Mila doesn't die. No, the thing, actually, there's one thing I want to point out about Mila. The fact that having the second book in front, although of course you haven't read the second one, although I told you about it, not thoroughly, you don't know what happens exactly, you don't know how it ends because you didn't want to know.
I don't know anything about it really, or
Good.
I don't remember.
Good. And of course the people who can read Italian, or possibly, hopefully, watching the video will not know about that, is that there is a changing style. In the Ballad of Mila, there is a lot of fun action. Again, I would say the inspiration is Gischler, is Lansdale, the Happen Leonard Lansdale. So this kind of this is violent, there is blood, there is revenge, there is rage, but it's fun. There is a lot of fun, there is a lot of irony. While Black Queen is much darker. It's more British, as actually said, at the end of the book there is a dialogue between two Mullocks and Matteo Strukul at the end of the Ballad of Mila. And actually Matteo mentions that Black Queen is more inspired to people like Alan Guthrie, Tim Willocks himself, who are darker, angrier. Black Queen is not as fun, as in, actually, I mean, it's a fun read because it's a good read, but it's not as much, it's not a Japanese movie as Ballad of Mila can be. It's more of a noir movie, of a dark movie. You're gonna read it and understand exactly what I mean.
Just reminds me, we missed to talk about one topic.
Well, there is one thing you brought out the other day, yeah.
This book has a very fine sense of not only humor, it's even sarcasm. Of course, I cannot say anything specific because that would be a spoiler, so read it and you will find out.
Read the book!
I thought you were saying read the Bible, but okay, it's
Book!
No, I think Strukul plays in a very fine sense with it. I mean, it takes some intelligence to fully appreciate it, I think. Doesn't mean that if you are dumb you cannot read it, honestly.
Read it!
Read it, exactly.
Even you.
No, but it's, yeah, there are some scenes which you just might think later, not even immediately, but later, wow, that is actually not only funny, it's pure sarcasm.
That's, after we'll mention it without making a spoiler, is the scene featuring the Chinamen, the two Chinamen in the car, and the Doberman. People who have read the book know exactly what I'm talking about. People who haven't, this is not a spoiler, because yeah, there is Chinese people and there are Doberman. Okay. So yeah, I had not even realized it could have been a hint of sarcasm or a joke or something like that until you told me.
Maybe Strukul himself didn't know. I think he did. Come on.
Matteo,
It cannot be
let us know.
unintentional. You cannot just put it in without having thought about that.
That's true.